Maybe a little bit from the beginning, kind of how your journey has looked, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah. So, like she said, my name's Erin. We don't know each other yet. Hi. But I started coaching just about 2 years ago. So June was my first challenge group I coached 2 years ago in 2016, and started kind of thinking about a business, but not too much right at the beginning. I wanted to save money on Shakeology, and really, my husband didn't really support it. Like, he didn't want to waste money on that really expensive shake every month. So I kind of said I would get people to join me to offset my cost. Really, all I thought that was ever going to come of it, to be honest, for about 2 weeks. Then I went through my training with Amber and saw that there was a lot of potential. So I hit diamond in about 5.5 or 6 weeks from my enrollment date to diamond. It took me about 6 weeks. And then I went to summit, like right at the same time, 6 weeks after I enrolled from coach. It like kind of all happened at the same time. And so I'm hoping that if they're at this, that they've been to summit or at least going to summit, because that was a huge game changer for me as far as just seeing the business opportunity for what it really could be. That being said, I hit diamond very quickly, and then there I sat. I was pretty shaky for a while. And then when I went to New Orleans last year, I was really disappointed because I went to New Orleans as diamond, and that's what I was in Nashville the year before. And I'm like, how did I take an entire year and not really get anywhere? And my team was growing, like I was adding coaches, but nobody was really working the business that much. And like, I was a little frustrated, and I thought, what am I not doing? Like, how did I take a whole year's time and not make that much progress? And I decided if I was going to do something about it, I had to think and do something about it. So right around the same time, I decided if 5-star elite is where I really want this train to get sooner than later, I have to do what 5-star elite coaches do, not what I'm doing just month to month to try to grow my business. So I hired a virtual assistant, which scared the crap out of me because I was just diamond at that point. I wasn't making very much money. And I knew though that there were things that were taking a lot of my time that weren't growing my business. And if I could pay someone to do those things so that I could invite more, so that I could recruit more, that it would impact my business exponentially. And it really, really did. And I just took a mindset of thinking of all of the income that I made from coaching as not my own, and put almost all of it right back into the business, whether that was to my virtual assistant or into advertising on Facebook and things like that. Because I think the more that we can see it as an investment back into those things, that it's going to help big picture a lot. So this time last year, just a diamond, had just hired a virtual assistant, brought her on board to help, as still was no childcare. When I first started coaching, I had 2 under 2. And I was kind of insane. We'd just moved, gone through a lot of that stuff. And so still at this time, I did not have any childcare. I did have a couple coaches that were wanting to kind of grow. So I get back from Summit and just started focusing on recruiting like a crazy person, because we've all heard it, but it's so much different to hear something and then actually put it into action, that your team is going to do what you're doing. Like, I was cheering them on saying, you need to get to diamond. You need to like add more coaches. But am I doing that? Like, was I getting Chad's account to diamond? Was I adding as many coaches as I was hoping for them to add? I had been in the mindset of like, I need such and such to get to diamond so I can get to 1-star, so I can get to 2-star and all of these things, instead of being like, well, what am I doing? I needed to look more in the mirror and less out the window at like what I expected others to be doing, and focus on control the controllable. So I got to work to get Chad to diamond. I got to work to grow my team to get the active coaches I needed in place to get there. And I just shared that with them and invited them into chat groups of like accountability. Like, we're going to be inviting coaches. And instead of thinking about what I needed them to do, or coaches even that were telling me that they wanted to work the business, I stopped listening to what they were telling me and started paying attention to what they were doing, and recruited like I didn't expect anyone to ever get to Emerald even. Like, I just kept recruiting like no one was ever going to work. No one was ever going to get to diamond, because I found that I was like counting on some people a little bit too much to get me where I needed to go. And that's not fair to them, and it wasn't fair to me. So that was a big thing I did. I also got really honest with myself, because I thought that I was working the business before. I thought that I was putting a lot of time in, and maybe I was putting time in, but I definitely wasn't making the most of that time. So I made little shifts. Like, used to really love me some Real Housewives. I've had to let go of my Real Housewives addiction. There's not time for Real Housewives if I want to grow an actual business. That's time that I can be pouring into my business. I would work during nap time, but what I would do is I'd get the girls down for nap, and then I'd pick up around the house. Maybe I'd start a load of laundry, get the dishes caught up, get the house to where it looked nice. And then with the leftover time, I would work my business. And I decided, if I'm going to do this, I need to take it seriously. And that needs to be like I clock in for work. So I gave up the idea that my house had to be perfect. I gave up the idea that laundry always had to be done and put away. I gave up the idea that I hung up my stay-at-home mom title because that wasn't me anymore. I have a job. I'm a work from home mom. And just like Chad leaves for work and has work hours, he's expected to work during that time. So why did I think that I could grow a successful business by doing the other stuff and not like just getting straight into it and using up all that time? So I had to like share that with him. I said, this is where I want our team to go. And I needed to be putting this time into my business. So you're going to come home and dinner's not going to be on the table. You're going to come home and the sink might be full of dirty dishes. The floor might not be mopped and there might be dirty clothes everywhere. But we're just going to be kind of in a crazy season. And I need you to come home from work and help me with those things, because now we're both working. We're both working parents. I'm not just a stay-at-home mom anymore. And that was a big shift that I made. And I stopped. Obviously we all can like improve on time management. I am by no means perfect at managing my time, but I have just gotten really honest with myself. Scrolling Instagram and like looking at people's pictures and hitting like, that isn't growing my business if I'm not actually engaging and prospecting with people. And so I think that I just had to get really serious about, I only have so many hours in the day. And if I'm going to be trying to do this thing, I need to be making most of that time. So the premiere thing, I will be honest, I didn't have a picture in my head of like what it even took to hit that. It wasn't on my radar that was going to be a thing until about the fourth quarter, when I realized a couple of my girls were pushing for Diamond and it was going to come together at the same time. There was actually a moment when I was on the phone with corporate because we were like so close to pushing for 5-star at the end of the year, but the other two just didn't get to Diamond in time. But it was like, I knowing what I know now about it, wished that I would have had that thought earlier in the year, because I think that people think like with the elite points and it's easy to get like a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit confused, but really it's super simple. And if you just look at it and know where you're trying to go and actually track it, there's still plenty of time for, even if you're sitting in this room as a Diamond right now, you're in the same exact place that I was a year ago. And we ended 2-star Premier. There's no reason that you can't end 2-star Premier at the end of this year. I think that people just see it as this big obstacle too often. Heck, you can end 5-star Elite if you want to as well. Like, I'm not putting a cap on it, but it's not something that has to take a long time. You just have to decide that's where you're going and you're going to make it happen. I think, is that kind of the stuff that you wanted me to cover? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that's perfect. I love like just the mindset behind that. And just that, I don't know, like so much of that like was bringing back memories of me when I made that decision, that like I wasn't going to bank on certain people going Diamond, or I wasn't going to bank on certain people going Emerald. I'm just going to bring people in and I'm going to equip them all. Some will, some won't. Just keep bringing them in. And yeah, just what it reminded me of when I had that mindset switch myself. So I think you're right on the money there. Is there anything specific that you guys want to ask her?
She shared her story. That's
I
all
know.
I wanted to know what her story is.
I know. So inspiring.
You guys have any questions for Erin?
Yeah. How many hours a day do you work, and what are your work hours like?
Was that how many hours a day do I work and what do they look like?
Yeah. And what's in her work hours?
Yeah. Okay. So that has shifted a little bit for me since January. I did bring in a babysitter 2 mornings a week in January, which has changed my life. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. But we also have a really crazy early morning schedule at our house. So Chad and I usually get up around 3:45 in the morning and we work out because he has to be at work at 5. So he leaves for work at 5 or 4:45. And then that's when I start my morning kind of power hour time. And usually I will get my basics done first thing in the morning. And that will always include like when I'm on my game. Sometimes in a season of push, I suck at my personal development and I suck at taking care of myself. But when things are going as they're supposed to, that's the first thing I do in the morning, because I just think it like gets my head in the right place to then have those inviting conversations and follow-ups if I do my Bible scripture time and then read a little bit from whatever book I'm doing at the time. So that's what I do early in the morning. And then my girls usually wake up around 7:30. So I typically work at least an hour and a half in the morning. And then I always work, they nap from 2 to 4. So, and I mean, I'm a normal mom. So like sometimes the little one craps her bed and nap and makes a mess and I don't get to do all my time. So that's why I always do like my business building stuff for sure in the morning. Like I make sure I get my invitations and stuff done during I know I have this time in the morning to get my invites and my follow-ups and those things out. That I never schedule one-on-ones or anything like that until the second hour of nap time. I make sure that I prioritize all of my stuff that's going to be moving my business forward before, so that like that's the stuff that you just have to do. And I used to feel more obligated to spend a lot more time in one-on-ones or like in responding to people, but like I don't, even my coaches, and like I say, unless there's like a hair on fire situation, but to me, there's like what we're like health and fitness coaches. There really is no emergency. I'm not going to respond to any of their messages even until I get all of my follow-ups with potential customers, my new invitations sent out. And that's what I always do in the front. So now I have 2 mornings a week where a sitter comes from 11 to 2. So that has added 6 more working hours a week for me since January. And I feel like, so my virtual assistant, she messaged me the other day and she said that, because I don't track things in this type of way, I don't have a numbers brain, which is why I pay her to do certain things for me. And she said that I recruited more coaches in the last 6 months than I did in the whole first 18 months of coaching. So it's showing me that like my investment in her and my investment in childcare is obviously working, because in the amount of time that all of that's been going on, our recruitment has like gone through the roof. And my coaches as well, I noticed the more that I'm bringing in, obviously they're going to be adding to their team. One of my girls just hit 1 star last week, which I was super proud of her. That's who's down here visiting us this weekend, actually. But yeah, so those are my working hours currently, with very excited to get more. The girls are starting a couple of days a week preschool in the fall, so I'll have a little more time.
Go ahead, ask yours.
When you say you switch to recruit like a boss, and I know the average is different per person, right? How many business invites were you sending a week?
How many business invites am I sending a week?
Yeah.
Typically a minimum of 25. I would say, at least having the conversation. One thing that I've done this month, so I did a To Be Mindset test group that started on May 14th, and I made being a coach a requirement to be in that group, a discount coach. And I think I got 7 ladies to enroll just to do the To Be Mindset group as a discount coach. I am not above the discount coach. Actually, my 1-star diamond started as a discount coach, and she was a discount for 3 or 4 months before she ever decided to work the business. So I'm all about it. And I plan to talk about, with my discount coaches, I have a thought with this whole To Be Mindset about inviting them to talk, share their story with their friends and invite them to join us and have them enroll just the way that you did. So I'm hoping to make some enrolleds pop kind of easily that way. Kind of that like, what's her name? Emily Falver, is that her name? Am I saying that right? Has that like making Emerald like a super simple thing and like getting people to get there without being that even like just trying to simplify the whole thing. So that's where I'm at right now. That has been really successful for me this month. And every time I invite someone to a challenge group, I invite them to join as a discount coach if they would like to enjoy the discount going forward as well.
So when you hired a virtual assistant, when you hired a babysitter to come in, did you feel like that helped you focus your time where it needed to be to get your shit together because you had money on the line?
Yeah, and my husband breathing down my neck. So when I enrolled as a coach, 2 things happened. One, Well, first of all, when I brought it up to him, he said, you're not allowed to buy this 21-day fix stuff until you do the Brazilian butt lift that's been collecting dust for 2 years in our cabinet. So he literally made me do Brazilian butt lift for a month before he let me join as a coach. So then I joined as a coach, and he said, if you're going to do this coaching thing, what?
Was that because of the dust or selfish reasons?
Both. Yes. It worked. That guy annoys the crap out of me, but it lifted my butt. I'm going to be honest. But so then when I said I was going to do the coaching thing, and I was like, I just keep feeling like tugged, like I'm supposed to do this. And he said, I'm going to give you 6 months to get your business in the black. And if you don't, I'm pulling the plug. And he's like, I'll give you 6 months of this costing us money. And if you don't, we're done. And so I did right away. But that same conversation happened when I said, I feel like I need to bring on a virtual assistant. I think I'm wasting time on these things that I don't enjoy, that take me a long time, that would take someone else not very much time. And I just think it would help. And he said, I'll give you 6 months of doing this. And you guys, there were weeks that I paid her like over half my paycheck. Like there were weeks where I was like really giving her a high percentage of my money in the very beginning, because I was just thinking big picture. And he said, I'll give you 6 months with her. And if we don't see an increase in income or increase in rank and things that we're pushing for, I'm pulling the plug. And I said, that's fair. And I was really nervous. And it wasn't, but the minute she came on in that first week, and yeah, we had to work through some things of like finding our rhythm of working together. But honestly, I can't even explain how I felt for the first time in the business. Like I wasn't all by myself. I had someone in my corner. I had someone that wanted my business to grow, because my business growing was positive for her. It was job security. It was growth for her. And I just felt legit. Like I felt like a real life working person. I felt like someone was cheering me on and wanting me to succeed and taking me seriously. It wasn't a hobby anymore. I gave myself permission to take it seriously and to like require that other people take me seriously. And I think that there's a lot of power in that, because too often I think we're really dismissive of this hobby or this side hustle. This isn't a side hustle. This is the hustle. Like I work like my life depends on it, because the life that I want does depend on it. So I think that was just a shift for me, and bringing her on. The childcare thing, oh my gosh, do you know how focused you can be when someone else is caring for your child? I didn't even know it was a thing. Like that focus time with someone just for a few hours, I get so much more done in that amount of time, just knowing that like I'm not listening for a baby monitor. If they're crying, it's not my problem during that time. I mean, obviously I'm like not a crap mom. If something happened, I would go tend to them. But like, yeah, that I can focus. I am more efficient. I am more professional, and I'm happier. I'm just a lot happier by adding those investments back into the business.
Perfect. Yeah. I love your perspective on it.
Thanks. And it's really freaking fun when you get to go to things like the parties in Mexico. And like, honestly, our job is just fun. Like there are definitely hard parts, but I would take the hard parts of this over almost any other job. And the perks, like I don't know of any other company that spoils their people the way that Beachbody spoils us when we do well, you know?
Yes. I've never been to a company party with a pool in the hotel.
Right? You got to watch out for those slippery floors though. They'll get you.
Yeah. Sure.
I have another question for you, Erin. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. What have you found to be the most successful after you send the business invite, the coaching invite, and they're like, yes, I've been watching you, I'd like some more details. What are your next steps after that?
I get them on the phone.
Okay.
Or on Zoom. I mean, I've done sneak peeks and things like that. At this point where I'm at though, I am so comfortable talking about the business opportunity that I think anything else is a waste of time. And I really do sneak peeks and stuff for my new coaches. For people that don't know like what to say or how to say it, like I put my time into hosting calls or sneak peeks and things like that for my new coaches. For me, I don't really invite any of my prospects to that. I say, you want to get on, like, I always say, so much easier to see if we click and if this is a good fit for you. Do you have like 15 minutes in the next couple of days? And most of the time, like if that freaks them out and they say no, then I'm like, probably not my jam, like probably not my person. If they don't even want to talk to me on the phone, why on earth would we like work well together? So yeah, I just get them on the phone or get them on Zoom. And I hate the phone. Like, don't mistake me for someone that likes to talk on the phone. Until recently, I wouldn't even call and order takeout. Like, I literally hate talking to people on the phone. I have terrible phone anxiety, and I have to psych myself up for it. But I've just found, in closing, of all the people I've gotten on the phone with, I think in the last 2 years, only like 2 of them didn't end up signing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I figured it out the other day. Our conversion rate since we started doing that is like 75%.
Oh yeah, it's so much higher.
I can guarantee if I get you on a phone call or a Zoom call, whatever, you're going to be a coach.
Yes. The only thing I haven't done yet, and I'm going to start because I think it was Carla on Amber's team with myself. When she has them on the phone and they say yes, she immediately, she did this like 1 or 2 times, and she immediately sent over the share cart enrollment and stayed on the phone. I'm just going to stay on the phone with you and make sure, I'm going to walk you through this and make sure if you have any questions, I'm right here. And so they enrolled while still talking to her on the phone.
Why didn't we think of that?
I know, when she said that, it was like this huge light bulb, because you get off the phone and you're like, yeah, they're totally in, but you're still watching that online office. Like, they haven't enrolled yet. Why haven't they enrolled yet? But if you just like, hey, let me just do that. And then it does 2 things. I am a control freak. So share a cart was like my dream come true when that came out. But then you also have that, you look like a rock star customer service person, like you're really taking care of them. I'm just going to stay on the phone in case you have any questions. Really, I just want to know that you freaking hit confirm, you're in, we're good. But I'm here to help too.
Yeah, like, I'm going to sit here and call you out on your shit if you don't click.
Yes, exactly. What's taking so long, Susie? It doesn't take that long to put a credit card number in. Let's do this thing.
What's taking so long? That's so cool.
Will you ask her like the amount of invites she does for like a challenge, not for this?
How many challenger invites?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you.
Not like the business head, but like challengers.
So it varies from week to week, to be honest with you. I start at least 75 to 100 new conversations a week just with new likes to my like page, because that's the amount of new likes that I get. So everybody that likes my like page gets a message, and I've toyed around from like long ones to short ones. The one that I'm doing now is super, super short, and I'm getting the most responses that I've had. And then, so those lead into a lot of invites. Other than that, I do a lot of like, in the lead generators, obviously, like this last one, I had one a week or so ago for 2B Mindset that like really went nuts. So I probably ended up inviting over 70 people, but then I only converted not even like a dozen of those at this point, but these are people that I'd never even had conversations with. They're strictly cold market. So I anticipate it's probably going to take 4 or 5 times at least of talking to these people before they're going to convert. But boy, do I have their email address now. So that's a win, but yeah, I start a lot of conversations, but I will say I did not have time for that. I could never have done that without hiring a virtual assistant. I didn't know how to run an ad and keep the cost down per like without hiring her. She's taken Social Team Builder. She knew how to do that. She found my winning ad. She keeps up with it. She keeps an eye on it. And she is the first, she sends every new like to my page that initial message. And then I pick it up from there. The people that, and then she like deletes. So like after a few days, if they haven't responded, then she deletes it for me to keep it cleaned up. But like if they engage, then that's me. Then she taps me in. That's when I pay her to do the things that anyone can do so that I can do the things that only I can do.
Amen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is the short message that you sent them?
It says, I'm probably going to mess it up a little bit, but it says like, hey, thank you so much for liking my page. Are you a wife and a mom too? And then and again, guys, like these are cold market. So a lot of these go to like no message land where these people don't even see it. But when we're not friends, but then when they accept it and then see it and start, but before I was getting like maybe 2 or 3 people to respond out of the 75. And now I'm getting closer to 10 or 15 to respond back out of 75. And then then you'll see quickly who wants to chat, and then they'll say either nothing, and then you're like, okay, bye, Felicia. Or they'll say something, and then you start saying, how old are your kiddos? And then I just share a little bit about myself. And then a new thing I started, which is working well leading into the invitation, is I just say, if you don't mind me asking, how did you find my page? And then they'll usually tell me, oh, on Facebook. I'm like, no shit. I'm Facebook messaging you. It's a Facebook like page. But then I say, are you working towards some health and fitness goals? And like 99% of the time, of course they are. Why the heck would they have clicked like on my page? And then I say, like, I run groups every month for support and accountability. Do you think that would be something that would help you? Yeah, maybe. And then I go into the invitation, like, officially, and, like, you know, asking them their goals and all of that, of course. But any other questions?
Do you have a script when you get them on the phone, like something that you go over every time with them?
No, I am, I don't know if you guys do Strength Finder. My number one strength is Activator. I fly by the seat of my pants in everything that I do. I had no idea what I was really going to say to you guys when I hopped on. I never have a script for anything in my life. When I talk to people, like, I just don't. I just shoot from the hip and kind of read the situation. And sometimes it's really awkward and doesn't go well. And sometimes it's like super cool. And when it goes really well, then I'm like, okay, I genuinely believe that you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I just live by that. Like, maybe I'm going to fumble and, like, sound like an idiot for a minute, but if we're meant to work together, I just have faith in that and know that they'll, like, accept it. And I really, the worst thing you can do when you get someone on the phone is, like, just spew a bunch of information at them. That is overwhelming. Nobody likes that. I did some sales in a crappy job a million years ago before this life. And one line that I learned and I, like, took away from it is, whoever speaks first loses. So, like, when you give them some information, you're learning about them, and at the end, you're like, so you want to do this? Like, do you want to join us? Don't talk. You asked a question. Don't let it hang. Let it hang there. Because if like, there's a moment of silence, and then you're just like, or, I mean, you could just start as a customer, blah, blah, blah. No, make them answer. Whoever speaks first loses. Like, put it out there, ask for the sale, ask for the close, ask for it, and then make them answer it.
That's one thing that I've been doing on our calls is you won't hang up until I say, so do you want to be on our team? And I say,
Yep.
And they'll usually say, well, I got to talk to my husband because he writes the checks around here. Or they'll say, hell yeah.
Are they really Southern and country? Like, where are you finding these people? I think we need to work on your demographic. Yeah, it's totally true. You just have to stink and ask. What is it, like, that saying, you, like, don't get 100% of the things you never ask for? Just stink and ask. Who cares? You don't know these people, but they say no. Okay, good. I'd rather have a no, like, right away than don't waste my time. I don't want to waste your time.
Just get to the point.
Get to the point. Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
Oh.
you still don't start time. So you're getting started right process. So once you sign off with your coach, just like,
Okay, I'm taking a picture of us too. Sorry guys, haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. My getting started right. Sorry.
Do it again.
I don't think I was looking.
You weren't looking? Okay. My light looked really weird. Anyway. It says Dean sent me a photo.
Yes. Everybody put your hand down.
Okay, cool. My getting started right process, is that what you're asking?
yeah, just a quick step by step what you do.
Yeah. Actually, in the process of completely revamping it, because my, like, secret, like, goal is to turn all discount coaches into emeralds by design of just, like, getting them to invite people and be like, look, you're coaching and you didn't even realize you're coaching. So, but I want to keep it really simple because what I was doing before is just too much information. And so I like brain dumped a bunch of stuff to my assistant, and so she's putting something together that actually looks nice. But my process is like going forward will be welcome to the team. Here's the training. Your next step, if you're getting ready, whatever, is like to have two or three people join just the same way that you did. It'll help you with your accountability, and get this thing going. I like to have a one-on-one call with all my new coaches within the first 1 to 2 weeks of enrollment. So as soon as you complete this coaches training, click this link, and then I have like a link through Sign Up Genius where they can schedule during my available times. Once you complete your stuff, book a one-on-one with me, and I'm excited to help you launch your business. Because I don't want to get on a one-on-one with someone that like doesn't even want to look at the training.
Right. So what's the training? Is it just a quick one training, or is it like a step-by-step?
Yeah, it's one of the like think if I see things.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was that? Another question? I couldn't hear them.
No, we're just chatting.
Oh, okay. Chatting in the back of the class. How has it been? How is like Melanie Mitro? That's awesome. I could just listen to that woman all the time.
Melody bailed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, just for the weekend. We're gonna have
Oh, sorry guys. You got me close second, you know.
She'll be listening with us next week, but she couldn't.
Oh, well, sorry. Real salt in the, too soon. Too soon to bring that up.
Do you think you get most of your business through like your like page, or what do you feel works best for you, Instagram or Facebook?
I would say, gosh, it just goes back and forth, but probably I have a lot more likes on my Facebook than I do on my Instagram. And I could say it's for a whole lot of things, but it's honestly because Instagram makes me mental. And my next thing that I'm hiring is a person locally I'm going to hire a local assistant probably this summer sometime that comes to my house and does a little bit more organizing on my computer for me, and then does a few hours a week of just my Instagram. Because you have to do that locally, like, or you'll get flagged. I don't know if you guys know that. Like, for the Instagram thing, they watch the login location closely. So like my assistant that does all my Facebook stuff, she lives in Iowa. She can't do that for me. So probably my Facebook, though I do get some from Instagram as well, but I would say it's probably 60-40, 70-30, leaning more towards Facebook.
I have no idea about the login there.
I saw that on a Jen Richardson, is that her name? Training.
I think. I don't remember if it was a national wake-up call or if it was the.
Yeah, I feel like it was like when she did that really long one about Instagram, which she's like knows a lot about Instagram, which I just think at it. I don't know. There's just certain tasks that you find harder to make yourself do than others. Mine is growing my Instagram. I just struggle with the commitment to doing it, and I know that I need to focus more on it, but that's a thing where I'm like, it would take me a very long time to find new people to follow and like do all of that, where that's what I want to pick up, kind of like my Facebook like page. I want to pay someone to find these people and to initiate conversation with them, and then when they respond to me, that's when I'll take it over. I don't want to personally send out 200 messages not knowing who's going to respond. I don't have time. I just don't have time for that. But I can pay someone to do that, and then I will engage when the time comes. And you guys, I'm not making a ton of money. Like when I say that I invest almost everything back into this business, I 100% invest almost everything back into this business. I mean, at the point now, I've grown a little bit to where I do treat myself to things here and there, but I'm so committed to growing and what it takes to grow that like, as I make more money, I'm going to give my assistant more hours, bring on another assistant for different things. And do like I said, pay people to do the things that anyone can do. Like on my list this fall to budget for is a cleaning lady, because there's that time that I can be cleaning my house. I could either be playing with my kids or working my business. So I'm going to pay someone else to do it. And and I'm just kind of in that reinvestment stage. And I think to a certain extent, you kind of always have to be willing to do that if you want to really continue to see growth.
Amen.
Well, with any business.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to take a business owner mindset in that way, or it's not going to happen.
Well,
Erin, I am forever in debt to you because in Mexico there was a big lady that grabbed me and started dancing with me, and Erin said,
I forgot about that.
Erin came over and said, "Honey, we gotta go." She saved my life. She seen I was in distress.
Oh my god.
And
It was an SOS situation, and you didn't know how to get out of there. And she meant business. Like, she meant business.
She was strong. If she would have got the right hold on me, I would have been gone.
We would have never seen you again.
No.
Oh, that was fun.
If you ever need anything, let us know. We're here for you.
Oh, I don't know. We can't let Kelsey and Chad get on golf carts together anymore. They can't be trusted.
No kidding. Yeah, just so everybody knows, we were in a golf cart riding back to the hotel after the dance party. And I had a clear lap, and Kelsey chose to sit on her husband's lap on the golf cart. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Good time.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for inviting me in a little box to join your leadership retreat. The retreats are so fun. I'm like little FOMO, totally jealous. I hope you guys are having a blast. It's just so fun to get together in real life with your people, so cool.
So fun.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin. Have a great night or day.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.